But again, I was wrong. So I'm never good at predictions. But all of those things in theory should help crypto. It's very hard to predict the future, but historically we've seen very accurate 4-year cycles. But there's also many things in the world that are 4 years. The Bitcoin halving is every 4 years. The United President's election is every 4 years. The stock market goes through a 4-year cycle as well. If you look at it historically, so it doesn't mean that the next cycle will be exactly 4 years. But I think there's a pretty decent probability that that might happen. But if we look at all the other different things that you just mentioned, that you said are different, the inflation, the war, everything else, those things should really help the crypto industry. Those things should really push people to want, the inflation should push people to want to hold a limited supply asset. So the war and the more the world is divided, the more that the Bitcoin is a very global currency that actually shines. So the more those issues happen, the more people should need, the advantages of crypto blockchain is actually more clear. So yeah, to be honest, to be very frank, I was kind of surprised that Bitcoin only made an all-time high at 68,000. I thought it was going to go much higher, but again, I was wrong. So I'm never good at predictions, but all of those things in theory should help crypto. But the fact that right now we're going through a winter is kind of surprising to me. But again, no one can predict markets. I can't. But logics do work in the long run. So that's my experience. I think we're going to be totally okay. There are a group of people, there are a very large group of people that I know that is not going away. So there are some new investors that get shocked, surprised, fear, and they go away for a while. But pretty much of all the people I know who are here since 2017, those guys is gonna stay. And as a business, I would recommend most businesses have at least 10 years of runway, 10 years of cash if they have zero income. Very few traditional companies can achieve that, but in the blockchain world, it's actually not that hard to achieve. Binance, we have like the Binance coin is about $40 billion market cap. We have the team portion we never used, and we do commit to burn that. But we also have income. Like even the team portion was double-digit $1 billion. So most crypto companies sit on this. If they manage well, they could be sitting on this really large cash reserve. So and even if we don't touch that, we actually still, that aside, we actually still have very healthy reserves that will last us many years. So they are, and also in the crypto business, they are very clear, very simple business models. You should have revenue, and because we're dealing with crypto money, we're dealing with this industry. It's actually not difficult for good businesses to make money. So I think just sustainability-wise, many businesses in this industry can sustain for a very, very long time. So I'm not too worried about it. To be honest, I'm not sure where BNB chain is going, and I only get told afterwards where it's going. So I'm not that involved in the BNB chain development, to be honest. The developers, I do talk to a few of the key developers on random ad hoc basis. They do ask me for some for advices from time to time, or opinions, etc. But we want BNB chain to be community driven. So we're much more on the sponsorship side of things. We want to sponsor more projects to develop BNB chain. We want to invest more. We want to promote it more. But exactly where it's going is a very community driven thing. I know that people. I've always recommended them to look at scalability. I view Ethereum as sort of the blockchain that proved that smart contracts work. But it's not very scalable. They can only do like 20, 30 transactions per second. So we need millions of transactions per second. So we don't quite have that yet, but we need to take steps in that sort of scalability front. That's my suggestion. But I didn't come up with the idea of the Solidity compatible EVM, etc. It was basically the number of developers in the community. They come up with those. So for me, like we just want to support it. We can support it by funding, by marketing, by branding, etc. But it's really up to the community on what they want to develop. Today, I think the burn is actually a very small part of the BNB ecosystem value. I think BNB's most value actually is derived from the DeFi world today. There are so many different use cases that people can use BNB for. And there's BNB staking on PancakeSwap. There's Venus, which is a stable coin. And there's many different things that people can also use BNB to buy airline tickets, even coffee, etc. There's the Binance card. People can use BNB to pay for things. So I think the burn is only a small part of it now. At the beginning, the burn may be the burn may be a big part of it. And we have since changed the burn protocol to depend more on the activities on the BNB chain instead of revenues from Binance, etc. So that change was adopted. So today, I think BNB is, and including Bitcoin, etc. They're much dependent on utility value, what people use it for. If there are use cases for it, then it has value. So I think this is different from like traditional stocks or securities where it depends on a company's revenue. BNB is I think BNB is way beyond that now. In the decentralized world, well, first of all, centralization is not black and white. It's not one or the other. There's a spectrum of number one is a spectrum if we look at any particular aspect, and there's multiple aspects we got to look at. So each one of them is a gradient scale. And so, for example, if we look at any cryptocurrency or blockchain, Bitcoin, I do think is by far the most decentralized blockchain, cryptocurrency, etc. But if you look at Bitcoin mining, it's quite centralized. Like, the top two miners top two or three mining pools will control more than 51% of the mining power. If you look at Ethereum or BNB chain, you can still associate a founder with those two blockchains and many other blockchains. So Ethereum, in that sense, if Vitalik suggests some changes, most likely the community will go with his suggestion. For BNB, myself, we can still identify that, even though I'm less technical, much less technical than Vitalik. But if I suggest something, the community most likely will support it. So that's centralization as well. So Ethereum and BNB having the identifiable founder is actually a less decentralized mechanism. And then there's how many nodes each blockchain has. And also, if you look at Binance.com, yes, Binance.com is a centralized exchange. And how many users do we have? We probably do have the largest user base in crypto now. And also, we probably hold custody of the largest funds of any single platform in crypto today. So all of those are type of centralizations. Where there is a line, where it's good or bad, it's very, very difficult to tell. And as you said, so for example, the most decentralized manner would be like everybody working for themselves, no company, no organization. In a decentralized world, any two people can choose to work together. When they choose to work together, that's centralization. So centralization will naturally form. So I think as long as we're centralized, we just got to be very cognizant of the fact that centralization is not a goal. Also, to be honest, decentralization itself is actually not really the goal. The goal we want to achieve is to give people the freedom. We want to develop technologies that give people freedom, ease of use, low fees. So freedom, including permissionlessness, meaning that if you want to send some money to somebody else across the world, that's legit activity. You're not doing something dodgy. You should be able to do it. Win or not, it's not succeed or not. Like we're all here persistently, consistently pushing forward. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a bit faster, sometimes a bit slower, depending on overall market conditions, macroeconomics, and other factors. But we're all here. We're not going anywhere. We're just consistently and persistently pushing this industry forward. So I think 10, 20 years from now, people will be using blockchain crypto the way they use the internet without mentioning it. Today, I don't say like, hey, I'm going to use the internet to message you. We just use it we just use it. There's many different applications on it. So I think 10, 20 years, we will get there. 10 years might still be a little bit tough, to be honest. Even if you look at the internet today, when we talk about video conferencing, sometimes still doesn't work that well. But I think eventually, like, people shouldn't be talking about blockchains. People shouldn't be talking about consensus nodes and all this other geeky stuff. People should be like, hey, I'm sending you some money. Hey, I'm doing a fundraising globally. I'm selling my art globally. I'm gonna hire a trainer, fitness trainer in the metaverse. All of those things should come naturally and without mentioning any technology. We will get there. It's just